And we are all back here in the main room. And we want to bring forward a few voices to share a distillation of a feeling, sentiment, the essence of what is arising and what you've experienced in the room. So please, let's see, showing of hands. We'll start with you, Sus, please.
Well, I met with two friends, and it was great to just get together, even for a very short while. For 7 minutes, we could spend more time, but I wanted to just offer a few qualities that for me personally, I would really want to see in the future. And those I found four qualities. One is hope. The second is defiance. The third one is belief. And the fourth one was patience. And we live in a world where things are hopefully for free. Essences can be, but you've got to want them, because you can't buy patience. But I can invite patience to live in me if I can give it space inside. So that's a controversial thing already, because in this world it's hard to see any patterns of things being given for free. But I would say that the first one is hopefully, because unless there is hope for young people in the future, their future is undirected and uninspired. So I would really want to see hope as an ever-ending, non-ending quality in the future. And I'm aware of the fact that in these times, I must house hope myself to give it on to the next generations.
The one that we landed on last seems the most powerful: respect.
Hello. The most striking thing was, well, firstly, what came up in me came up really quickly. Like I didn't need to think about it. But in the discussion, I realized all of the things that were spoken of, like trust, consistency, freedom to play, they seem like really tiny things, but they're actually huge. If we can stick with them and grow them. So it kind of needed a different way of thinking to my usual, and really imagining a different future from small beginnings into most powerful essences.
Let me invite now Ari to come forward to the spotlighted area and lead us into the ideas you want to share with us. Ari Levari, please.
Hi, everyone. That's Funny that there are two Aris. Nice to meet you, other Ari, wherever you may be. Well, thanks everyone. I'm so grateful to be here with all of you. And I'm going to talk a little bit about paradox. Before this event, some of us met to think through what this experience might look like. And in these meetings, we began to notice a reoccurring theme throughout our conversations. And the theme was paradox. So I noticed we were saying a lot of yes ands. So like, we need to spend time envisioning the futures we want to live in. Yes. And we also realize that the future is unknowable, and clinging to any specific vision doesn't make sense. So, you know, we are autonomous agents capable of shaping the future. Yes. And we are products of our environment, and none of our actions are truly ours alone. So I started realizing that, like, just as in the movies, time travel, whether through wormholes or through conversations, tends to lead to paradox. So for the next few minutes, I just want to share a few paradox-related ideas that I've been exploring, that I've been holding as some open inquiries, and hopefully they will spark something within you. So while contemplating the future, we might try adopting what I've come to think of as the paradox mindset. So to explore this mindset, let's quickly revisit one of the paradoxes I mentioned earlier, which boils down to two true statements. So one, we have some control over the future. But then two, by clinging to the need for control, we undermine the futures we're trying to create. So take a brief moment to notice what arises in you as you contemplate this idea. I'm going to say it one more time. So we have some control over the future versus by clinging to a need for control, we undermine the futures we're trying to create. So just close your eyes and feel what arises in you as you try and navigate your way between those two ideas. So as you start feeling into that, you might notice some measure of uncertainty, of discomfort, right? Or you might find yourself jumping to a quick solution. Like, oh, this isn't really a paradox. Ari clearly didn't think this example through very well. Something like that. But you know, our brains crave answers, right? So what is the paradox mindset? Well, I'd say it begins with noticing this discomfort and desire for certainty, but then not letting your mind jump to an immediate solution, and finding a sense of curiosity and openness within that uncertainty. So the paradox mindset, as I've been thinking about it, has two main components. So the first is really a deep sense of not knowing. As a friend of mine once said, it's like a commitment to holding our truths lightly, realizing that no matter how clear our conceptualization of reality is, we're only ever perceiving a slice of it, and vast truths will always remain hidden. So that's the first component of the paradox mindset. And the second one answers how to proceed once this deep feeling of not knowing enters our bodies and our minds. And it involves a commitment to what I'm going to call playful action. So playful action, as I'm envisioning it, entails a call and a response. So we call out into the unknown and the unknowable, and then we listen for a response. And when the response comes, we meet it. and we adjust our next call, trying to harmonize, to create melody, and create coherence where none was before. And this is the way nature works, right? It tries something new, some novel mutation, and then a multitude of living creatures provide a response, allowing the change, the mutation, to either propagate and thrive or to fade away. This is also the way science ideally works, right? We ask a question of reality, we listen for its answer, and then we revise better questions. All while realizing that the ongoing experimentation itself is what's sacred, not one specific outcome of that experiment. So when we're faced with the unknown, the paradox mindset suggests we start by probing, questioning, and playfully prodding, not for the sake of finding any specific answer, but with the intention of engaging in a beautiful conversation, song, or dance with the world and its inhabitants. So that's the paradox mindset, a deep sense of not knowing, paired with that commitment towards playful action as you participate in the unfolding song that you and this world are co-creating. And then I'm just going to end by saying that as I was going through this exploration, I realized that the paradoxes tend to birth more paradoxes, right? So it's easy to come to the conclusion that to bring about a more beautiful future, we need everyone to, as I said, like hold their truths lightly, to mimic nature, to be conscious co-creators, all that fun stuff. And while this is true and is a worthwhile way to try living, it's also true that we need people with many different orientations and different degrees of certainty, people who hold their truths fiercely, not lightly. Sometimes change comes through slow organic evolution. Other times it comes through cataclysmic shifts or fierce impulsive action. So I'm just going to leave you with a few questions. How can we encourage humanity to embrace the paradox mindset and begin a path of conscious evolution while still holding space for the conservative talk show host or the woke liberal Instagram influencer? Pick your poison. How can we engage in playful action when so many in this world have forgotten how to play? And how can we approach those who have forgotten how to play, not with condescension, but with the realization that they might hold the key to unlocking the next level of this game we're all playing together? And with those questions in mind, I'd love to pass it off to Fionn for an exploration of how some specific paradoxes might unfold in our future, and maybe see if you can fully embrace the unknown and step into the paradox mindset, or don't. Maybe maybe dash off a couple of tweets about this experience and snap a pic for Instagram or something. We all have a role to play, no matter where you're at. So just embrace it and let yourself shine. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Ari, for that paradoxical expression of paradoxes. And my mind is spinning in all different directions. And I'd like to invite everyone to bring their awareness down a little bit into their body. From all that spinning of the trying to figure out rationally how paradoxes work, down into just taking a deep breath. Noticing your heartbeat in your chest. Noticing gravity pulling you down, grounding you to the earth. Noticing the temperature of the room around you. The sounds you can hear, from the sound of my voice to the sounds of your environment, to that which you can see, from whatever screen you have in front of you to your peripheral vision. Just opening up your senses. And with that, if you're comfortable, I'd like to invite you to close your eyes. I'd like to guide you through a bit of an experience of exploring potential paradoxes and welcoming in the vast diversity that exists, as well as, paradoxically, unity in all of our experiences. So as you're noticing the different sensations in your body, what it's like to be in the present moment, I invite you to zoom down to the very smallest level, the atomic, the subatomic, where the very energy field of life comes from. And to just notice what it's like to bring your attention, your awareness, down to the inside of yourself, of our world, of our universe, and to see how that has evolved over time from the moment of the Big Bang and the explosion of the elements out into possibility that came into shape, into form, with galaxies and stars and planets. And that there was this one very special planet that bore life in a variety and a diversity of forms. And that life complexified, evolved organically, grew, changed, adapted to its environment, adapted to the constantly evolving environment. And that over time, through millions of years, consciousness became more and more refined. The beings on this planet we call Earth came into an understanding of their place in the universe, our place in the universe. And to notice that ours is one perceptual lens of many species that we share this planet with. And to notice how over time, as humans grew and evolved and flourished, the impact that we had on this planet. The impact we are having on this planet. And to notice how each and every one of us contributes in some small way to some form of impact, both on our natural world and on humanity as a whole. And how that contribution, that manifestation of our own individual awareness out into the world has a specific essence, how each and every one of us has some value to bring, something unique, something special. And how in every moment of every day, there's an opportunity for us to bring that, for us to live that, for us to manifest that. And so now in this gathering of almost 100 people, I'd like you to imagine that we are unified, almost as if we're standing in a circle. I know we're all over the planet, in our own individual rooms, but to imagine for a second that we're standing, holding hands, and looking into the center. And in the center is the potential future of humanity, that each and every one of us can bring our attention, bring our care, bring our awareness to the emerging future that is coming into being. And to notice that even though we may be in a circle and looking at what might seem like a similar object, everyone sees it in slightly different ways. We all have our own individual perceptual filters, our own beliefs, our own understandings, our own viewpoints, our own worldviews, and that there's beauty and perfection in every single one of those. And that those as a whole bring to the surface, bring to the fore a beautiful garden of possibilities to arise. But that garden is unified in its beauty, in its diversity. And so as we bring our awareness to the emerging future, having come all the way from the Big Bang to this moment in time, I invite you to jump a little bit further, perhaps 15 years in the future, and to open up to the possibility of what could be. What would you hope for our future? What could you imagine as a possibility that you would like to see come into being on this planet with our species, for humanity, with humanity, by humanity? What can you see? What can you hear? What can you feel? What can you touch? And just allow to arise in your awareness that each and every person on this call can see something slightly different, hears a different resonance, feels a different sensation, can touch something uniquely theirs. And yet, unified as a whole, we have the potential, the possibility to bring an entirely new form into being. And to invite ourselves to do just that. So if you can slowly start to bring yourself back into your body, take a deep breath. Slowly start to open up your eyes again. Lviv will put on the screen a prompt, a stem that we can all imagine into. It is November 2036, and what fills me with hope about our world is, and I look forward to exploring with all of you together those hopes. Thank you.
We're going to stay here for 60 seconds with Paul, giving us some music to stay with this stem from Fionn, and then we will find ourselves in a second round of rooms with four people, and for 12 minutes.